Chapter 1 Summer Saturday, 24th July 2010. Looking out of the window, I came face to face with the dull gray sky. The heavy clouds made it look too dark for summer, but not even that could break my happy mood tonight. GCSEs were finally over, and I wouldn't have to take another exam until next year. I was celebrating my freedom by going out with my friends to a local gig. Hey, what time are you leaving? My boyfriend Lewis asked as he let himself into my room and sat on the end of my bed. In about half an hour. Do I look okay? I looked back at my reflection in the mirror and frowned. My hair never really ended up how I pictured it in my head. Lewis smirked and rolled his eyes behind me. You know I can see you in the mirror, right? I teased. You look beautiful, as always, he replied. Are you sure you don't want me to drop you off tonight? I sighed. The local club where the gig was being held was barely a 2-minute walk. I could make it in my sleep. No thanks, I'm fine walking. What time are you leaving? He shrugged. Whenever your lazy brother's ready. Are you sure? We can give you a lift on the way. It's fine, seriously. I'm leaving now, and if you're waiting for Henry to be ready, you'll be a while. You shouldn't walk alone at night, Summer. I sighed again and slammed my brush down on my dresser. It wasn't improving the look of my hair anyway. Lewis, I've been walking around on my own for years. I used to walk to and from school every day, and I'll do it again for the sixth form. These, I slapped my legs for emphasis, work perfectly fine. He smirked, his pervert eyes flicking down to my legs. I can see that. Grinning, I pushed him down on the bed and sat on his lap. Can you put your overprotective boyfriend's shirt away and kiss me? Lewis chuckled as his lips met mine. We had been together for 14 months and I was totally crazy about him. I had started liking him when I was 11 and he had come home with Henry after football practice one day. Being so young, I thought it was just a silly crush like the one I also had on Usher at the time, and didn't think anything of it. But when he still gave me butterflies 4 years later, I knew it was something more. You two are disgusting. I jumped back at the sound of my brother, Henry's deep voice. I'm going now anyway, I said, and pushed myself off Lewis. I gave him one last kiss and slipped out of the room. Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. I called and then slammed the front door shut behind me. I didn't wait to hear from them before I left. I started along the familiar pavement towards the pathway next to the graveyard. That was the only part of walking alone that I didn't like. Graveyards were a scary place, especially alone. I subtly glanced around while I walked along the footpath. I felt uneasy even after passing the graveyard. We had moved to this neighborhood when I was 5 and I had always felt safe here. My childhood had been spent playing out in the streets with my friends, and as I got older, I hung out at the park or social club. I pulled my jacket more tightly around myself and picked up my pace. The social club was almost in view and just around the next corner. I glanced over my shoulder again and gasped as a dark figure stepped out from behind the edge. Sorry, dear. Did I frighten you? I sighed in relief as old Harold Fox came into view. I shook my head. I'm fine. He lifted up a heavy-looking bag and threw it into his wheelie bin with a deep sigh. His skinny frame was covered in wrinkled skin, and it made him look as if he would snap if he have. It made it look as if he would snap in half if he bent over. Are you going to the disco? I grinned at choice of word. Disco. Yeah, I'm meeting my friends there. Well, you have a good night and watch your drink. You don't know what the boys today slip in pretty young girls' drinks, he warned, shaking his head as if it were the scandal of the year. I laughed. I'll be careful. Bye. Good night, dear. The social club was visible from Harold's house. I relaxed as I approached the entrance. My family and Lewis had made me jumpy. It was ridiculous. As I got to the door, my friend Carrie grabbed my arm from beside me. Making me jump, she laughed. Sorry, have you seen Rachel? My heart slowed to its normal pace. Nope, just got here. Damn it. She ran off after another argument with the idiot, and her phone's turned off. Ah, the idiot. Rachel had a very on and off relationship with Jack. We should find her, I groaned. I had only just arrived and had hoped for a fun, chilled out evening with friends. Sighing, I resigned myself to the inevitable. I would be spending the first part of the night looking for my over-emotional friend. Okay, which direction did she go? Carrie gave me a flat look. If I knew that, Summer. Rolling my eyes, I pulled her hand and we started walking back towards the road. Fine, I'll go left, you go right. Carrie saluted and marched off to the right. I laughed at her and then went my way. I walked across the middle of the field, heading towards the gate at the back to see if she had gone through the sports center. Though Carrie said Rachel's phone was off, I tried calling it anyway. Of course, it went straight to voicemail. If she didn't want to speak to anyone, then why were we trying to find her? Because you're her friend and she's upset. I headed through the gate and across the field to the back near the skate ramp. The clouds had shifted, creating a gray swirling effect across the sky. A light warm breeze whipped across my face, making my hair blow in my face. Lily? A deep voice called from behind me. I didn't recognize it. I spun around and bagged up as a very tall, dark-haired man stepped into my view. My stomach dropped. Had he been hiding between the trees? He was close enough now that I could see the satisfied grin on his face, and his neat hair was glowing in the light wind. Lily, he repeated. No, sorry. I took another step back. I scanned the area in vain, hoped that one of my friends would be nearby. I'm not Lily, I murmured, straightening my back and looking up at him in an attempt to look more confident than I felt. He towered over me, glaring down at me with his menacing eyes. He shook his head. No, you are Lily. I'm Summer. You have the wrong person. I could hear my pulse crashing in my ears. How stupid to give him my real name. He continued to stare at me, smiling. It made me feel sick. Why did he think I was Lily? I hoped with everything that I just looked like his daughter and he wasn't some crazy weirdo. I took another step back and casually searched around to find a place that I could escape if needed. The park was big and I was still near the back, just in front of the trees. There was no way anyone would be able to see me from here. That thought alone made my eyes sting. Why the hell did I come here alone? I wanted to scream at myself for being so stupid. You are Lily, he repeated. Before I could blink, he threw his arms forward and grabbed me. I started to scream, but he clasped his hand over my mouth, muffling my shouts. What the hell is he doing? I thrashed around frantically, trying to get out of his grip. Oh God, he was going to kill me. The tears poured from my eyes. My heart beat so fast that I thought I was going to pass out. He pulled me towards him, hard, and then spun me around so that my back pressed lightly against his chest. His hand was still covering my mouth. He grabbed my hair and pulled back my head against his shoulder. I couldn't move or breathe properly. I was going to die. He pushed me through the gate at the back of the park and then through the field. I tried again to scream for help, but his palm stifled my cries. He kept whispering Lily over and over as he dragged me towards a white van. Oh God, I need to get away now. I dug my feet into the floor and screamed so much that my throat hurt. It was useless though. No one was around, so all I was doing was exhausting myself. He tugged his arm back, pressing it into my stomach. I cried out in pain as soon as he let go to open the van's back door. I screamed for help. Shut up! He shouted as he pushed me inside the vehicle. I hit my head on the floor while I struggled. Please, let me go. Please, I'm not Lily, please, I begged, and gripped the side of my throbbing head. My whole body shook in fear, and I was gasping for breath. His nostrils flared, and his eyes widened. You're bleeding. Clean it now, he growled in a menacing voice that made me tremble. He handed me a tissue and sanitizer. I was so scared and confused that I could barely move. Clean it now, he screamed, making me flinch. I lifted the tissue to my head and wiped away the blood. My hands were shaking so much that I almost spilled the sanitizer as I squirted it onto my palm and rubbed it into the cut. The stinging caused me to clench my jaw. The man watched me carefully, breathing heavily and appearing repulsed. What the hell was wrong with him? My vision quickly blurred as tears spilled over and rolled down my cheeks. He grabbed the tissue, careful not to touch the bloody part, and threw it on the floor. He cleaned his hands with sanitizer before slipping the small bottle into his pocket. Give me your phone, Lily, he said calmly. Holding out his hand, I cried harder as I reached into my own pocket, took my phone out, and handed it to him. Good girl. He slammed the back door shut, immersing me in darkness. I screamed and banged against the door. A moment later, I heard the unmistakable roar of the engine and felt a rocking sensation. As the van began to move, he was driving, taking me somewhere to do what? Please, help me, I shouted. I repeatedly punched the door. It was useless, but I had to try. Every time he turned a corner, I fell against the side of the van, but I got up and continued shouting for help and banging on the door. My breathing turned to panting, and I kept gasping for breath. It didn't feel as if air was getting into my lungs. He continued to drive, and with every passing second, I started to give up hope. I was going to die. The van finally came to a stop, and my body froze. This is it. This is where he kills me. After a few seconds, the door flew open, making me scream. He smiled and reached in, grabbing my arm before I had a chance to jump back. We were in the middle of nowhere. There was a large red brick house sitting at the end of the stone path. Tall bushes and trees surrounded the field. Who could ever find me here? There was nothing I recognized at all. I had no idea where he'd brought me. I tried to resist as he pushed me towards the house, but he was too strong. I screamed loudly in one final attempt to get help, and this time he allowed it, which was so much scarier. It meant that no one would be around to hear me. I kept repeating in my head, I love you, Louis, as I prepared myself to die, and for whatever he had planned before he killed me. He pushed me through the front door and along the hallway. I didn't see much because I was too busy struggling to get out of his grip. He picked something up from the table and opened another door. I gasped as I saw a wooden staircase leading down to the cellar. I screamed again and pushed back, but he easily forced me inside. He closed the door behind me, leaving me standing on the stairs and shaking violently. My eyes widened as I looked around. I was in a large room painted in a pretty light blue color. There was a small kitchen along one side, two brown leather sofas, and a chair in the corner that faced a small television. There were three wooden doors on the wall opposite the kitchen. Everything was spotless. There was no mess anywhere. Four vases sat on the table. One held roses, one violet, one poppies, the fourth was empty. I collapsed on the step, grabbing the wall to stop myself from falling down the stairs. I let out a startled cry as three girls stepped into view at the bottom of the stairs. One of them smiled sadly and held out her hand. "Come, Lily,"